Okay. Hope everybody's doing good. Got a good week of prep so far. Good couple days of practice. Had some really lively practices, which was great. A lot of fun out there, a lot of energy. Guys are excited about being back at home. Don't want to make it so you can only get excited when you play at home. But certainly it's been 4 weeks, and the fact that we're back at it certainly makes it special as we continue to build and continue to go through this journey and this process of getting better and building our team. And we're at these next 4 weeks will be really critical to our future.
Between USC, a team you've played several times in the Pac-12, and then playing a new team like Iowa, Indiana?
Yeah, I think it's different that we're in a situation the last few weeks where you're playing unfamiliar foes that in unfamiliar territory at unfamiliar times, and there was a lot of newness. There's a lot of newness, and I think it's representative of what's USC is going through as well. They went to Minnesota. They went to Maryland. They had a Rutgers game, teams they haven't played in the past. Now they were able to host that one. But, I would say for us, we do know each other. We have played each other. I think people have chosen University of Washington over the last 4 years and many years before that to play games against USC, play games against Oregon, play games against UCLA. A lot of Southern California kids throughout the years have been at UW. So it's certainly nice to play a game against a team that we are very familiar with. And as the New World Order continues, we'll wind up becoming more and more familiar with some of these other Big Ten teams. But clearly those teams have been playing each other for years and years and years. And we've been playing USC for years and years and years.
You mentioned before that USC and Arizona last year was a really big moment for your team. What did you kind of learn about that team in that moment, and why was it so important?
Yeah, we were at that point in time. We just came off of a loss against UW. We lost 31-24. It was Noah Fafita's first ever start for Arizona, and we were going to USC at 3-2. And at the time, we just got done. We got to SC, and we went up 17-0 in the game. And then we wound up throwing an interception and wound up losing the game in triple overtime. And they were either undefeated or with one loss at that time. And I think they were undefeated. And they were top 10 in the country. And our guys got into the locker room, and we lost the game 43-41 in triple overtime. And they finally felt like they were in that category, that they could play against the Washingtons, the USCs, the Oregons of the world, which kind of wasn't really familiar for Arizona at the time. And after that game, we didn't lose. We went on a 7-game win streak and wound up, putting ourselves in position that our average margin of victory was like 17 points a game. Wound up beating our rival by 35 points. Wound up beating Utah by 26 points or something like that. So we just started getting good. And I think that they believed they could be good. We were in our third year. That whole team was recruited by us except for 6 players. So 79 of the 85 players were recruited by us. So they kind of finally believed overall in what we were trying to get done.
How important was that for you as a coach? Obviously it was important for the team, but for you personally?
Yeah, it was a huge moment, I think, for our staff. And there's that moment in time where you feel as if your work is beginning to show up. Your belief in who we can be is beginning to work itself out live and in color, as I like to say. We had a huge moment the year before when we beat the number 9 team in the country when we beat UCLA. We had, I thought, a big moment when we came out here in Seattle and had a 49-39 shootout. But it gave our guys that confidence that when practice happened after that SC game, our guys practiced differently. And then as a coach, you feel like, okay, they're beginning to believe. They're beginning to trust. They're beginning to understand. Now, it took us to get to that point. It took us what ended up being 28 games, right? We were, as you know, we started off from 0-12 before we arrived to 1-11 to 5-7. And then we were sitting there at 3-3 after the USC game, and then went on that run and finished 11th in the country. But a lot of that had to do with just belief.
Coach, been doing this a long time. I've seen many USC teams come up here from the 80-degree weather down in SoCal and moderate to bad weather. It's not looking great for Saturday. Any ways that you might be able to take a little bit of advantage of that?
Yeah, I mean, there's dog weather, right? That's what we love it. That's what we refer to it as here, right? We say, hopefully the dog weather's coming. And we practiced last couple of days outside and loved it. And practice at night, 6 o'clock at night, 5:30 at night. That's what time kickoff will be, 4:40. So we were right in the middle of our, let's call it at 5:30. We started practice yesterday at 4. We started practice the other day at 4. So practice goes to about 6:15, 6:30. So we're right in the heart of it, practicing. Hopefully the weather will be just like it's been the last few days. Maybe a little rain, little wind every now and then, a little chill in the air, but also beautiful enough that all of our fans come out and watch. And it's always nice to be at home. That's the bottom line. It's nice to be at home. It's exciting to have our fan base behind us. It's been 4 weeks. Whatever other advantages you may or may not have, that's up to our team. It's up to our team to take advantage of that.
Been on the sidelines and looked across the field and seen where, the weather's getting to them?
Coach in New England, when you play Miami, there's some times that you look at it. There's some times that I coached at Minnesota when we played West Coast team or Southern team. It is what it is, right? When we were at Michigan, it could get cold in November. But I think in the end, mentally tough, physically tough. That's who we want to be. And I think that if you are mentally tough and physically tough, the weather shouldn't get to you. I don't know about if it gets to the other teams or not.
When you, sorry to go back to the USC game again, but were there any lessons that you took from it personally as a coach?
Well, I think there was a lot in that game. That was my first ever triple overtime game. Played in double overtime against Indiana, where we hit a double move to win the game 48-41. Been a part of single overtime games, the double overtime game, but that was the first time I've ever been in triple overtime. That was unique. It certainly gave me the lesson to carry about 4 to 5 two-point plays every week on your call sheet. Not something that you normally would plan on doing. I think that it gave us, probably you learn from every play call. You learn from every moment. We were up 17-0, and we threw an interception on like 1st and 10 on the -30, stuff like that. You probably learn to cover more with your team in training camp and of situational football, and understanding, when to say when to take a shot. All of that. But a lot of that, to me, I would say more is about the process and the build and of just continuing to educate your own players. And as coaches, we keep learning from each experience. And then a lot of times what we're able to do, like I'll go in today and I'll show our guys clips of the SMU Duke game that just took place. I'll show them clips of the Bears Hail Mary. We'll try to always learn and see if we can make our team a little bit better. And make our coaches a little bit better and make myself a little bit better just from experience itself.
You mentioned that belief. Is there something about the belief that your Arizona team had last year at the end of the year that maybe this Washington team hasn't quite figured out since they're so new?
Yeah, well, I think what they had was they had 3 years of relationships, 3 years of the same system, and all they kept doing is they kept filing into that system. We started off very, in a manner where we started off in a manner that in year one we had to get all those kids to commit to us. And I was looking at that recruiting class last night, and I would bet that of the 24 guys that signed, plus the transfers, there's probably going to be about 11 of them that are in the NFL and about 6 of them that are first and second round picks. that's a belief that you're going to get them to where they want to be. Each year, each month, each week, we work really hard to build that relationship. We just, you can only do so much in a short period of time. A lot of our starters got here August 1st, June 30th, July 1st. Some got here in March 27th. Very few got here before that. So I think it's a process that we're building. We're trying to get better at it. We're seeing how good we can play. But I think that what we'll see moving forward is the longer we're together, the more trust, the better we can all play.
Anybody definitely ruled out for Saturday?
Durfee is out for Saturday. Quentin Moore is out for Saturday. Kevin Green is out for Saturday. I think that's it. That's officially ruled out at this point in time. That hasn't been on the all-season-long injury report.
Special teams, you guys have allowed 7 returns of 30 or more yards upon kickoff. Have you been able to pinpoint kind of what the issue might be there, and then what's your focus on in practice and improving that?
Yeah, well, number one is you'd love to kick more touchbacks to eliminate returns, right? That's the first thing, because covering kicks is difficult. You got to get good hang time on kicks and directions on the kicks to really feel like you can not have to cover the whole 53 1/3 as well as the whole field between end zones. We have to continue to get more players that want to, make impacts that maybe aren't starters running down there on kickoff to cover. And then on the same token, we need our starters to make sure that we don't get guys, let them get past the 20 if they're going to try to return a kick. We had that 195-yard return that certainly skews your average. But we've let up, as you said, 7 of them that are over 30 yards. And we've got to be better there. That's in punt coverage and in kickoff coverage. If it's going to be very hard to win games if you're not winning the field position battle.
Defensively, this is a USC squad that just held Rutgers to about 3 yards a carry last week. What did you maybe see from their defense on film, and what do you guys maybe have to do to get Jonah going this Saturday?
Yeah, got to continue to give Jonah the ball. He had 19 carries last week or 20 carries last week for 105 yards. Certainly got to continue to do that, even if there's some tough yards. Sometimes there's that 2 or 3 yards, and then other times, you could break one, right? And you have to be able to have patience when you're trying to get the run game going. The second thing is what we've got to have to do is continue to mix up, the run schemes that we run. We can't just run 1 or 2 runs, so to speak, against this team. They're going to give you multiple looks. We got to give them multiple looks. And then the other part is we have to understand that they're committed to pressure and there's a lot of times where you could freeze the film and you could have 9 guys within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage. And if that's the case, you're going to have great perimeter blocking by your wide receivers.
I think you mentioned before that with Jacob Bandes, you really challenged him to kind of take a leadership role in this team. How have you seen him grow as a leader this season?
Yeah, I think Bandes has done a nice job, as has a lot of those guys that have been here for 5 or 6 years now. Zoe, Bruner, Bandes come to mind for sure. Guys that have lived through 4 head coaches, 5 defensive coordinators. Guys that have been a part of a lot of change but have been here the whole time. And I would say that those guys really, Bandes specifically, has done a great job of not just bringing the defensive line group along, but he also does a really good job of bringing an attitude out of practice of joy, but also a work ethic. That he can enjoy the moment of chasing after a ball and trying to get another interception or trying to be right there for a tag off, but he's also the one that could kind of, go back and forth with some of the offensive linemen to try to get the best out of them as well.
For some of your maybe fringe draft prospect guys, Kalecki or Thaddeus, what do you think they need to put on film for this last couple games if they want to raise that stock?
Well, I told him that from what I understand, there's 8 NFL scouts coming to this game. That would be 25% of the NFL will be represented at this game. These are the games that are opportunity, right? That you have to make a splash play. You have to go out and you have to be able to, make the tough catch, have the good PBU, step in front of a ball, whatever it might be smart, be aware. And that's what the NFL looks for. They look to see on what are you going to be able to do to impact the game at the college level, and then can that impact also happen at the pro level. So I've told those guys how you practice every day and how you play over these next 4 weeks. And that's for a lot of our guys. We have a lot of guys that are fringe draftable players in this year, this team. So if you want to get drafted, then you're going to have to show practice, how hard you want to practice, the effort you'll give, and then it's got to translate to game day.
All right.
Okay. See you after the game. Thank you.